In a surprising twist that intertwines technology, finance, and politics, President Donald Trump has expressed support for a proposal that could see some of the savings generated by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency distributed back to American citizens in the form of a DOGE dividend. This initiative, which aims to allocate 20% of the savings from government streamlining efforts, primarily fueled by the controversial cryptocurrency Dogecoin Doge, has sparked considerable interest and debate. Speaking at an investment conference in Miami, Trump remarked on the potential benefits of this plan, emphasizing that it could incentivize citizens to identify and report wasteful government spending. "They'll be reporting it themselves," Trump stated, suggesting that engaging the public in the budgeting process may enhance accountability. He added that the administration is looking at a two-pronged approach, where an additional 20% of the savings would go towards reducing the national debt. The discussion gained further momentum when Musk himself commented on social media, indicating a willingness to consult with Trump about the feasibility of the DOGE dividend. The underlying idea of using DOGE as a financial mechanism to reward taxpayers follows a trend of leveraging digital currencies for innovative government financing solutions. Since its inception, Musk's Department of Government Efficiency has already made waves by leading to significant cuts in federal employment, laying off thousands as part of its cost-cutting measures. The notion of a DOGE dividend marks a novel intersection of cryptocurrency and government policy, showcasing how digital assets are increasingly being considered as tools for public finance. As cryptocurrencies continue to capture public interest, the potential for using them in unconventional ways raises questions about the stability and implications for fiscal policy. The Trump administration's interest in this concept reflects a broader trend in policymaking that seeks to tap into the popularity of cryptocurrencies to engage citizens in economic discussions. However, the proposal does not come without its critics. Skeptics argue that relying on a volatile asset like Doge for government savings could be risky and may not provide a stable financial foundation for such initiatives. As the conversation around the DOGE dividend unfolds, it is likely to impact various stakeholders, from everyday citizens to financial analysts watching the implications of cryptocurrency in public finance. With Trump's endorsement, the administration is poised to explore further how this concept could be implemented, potentially paving the way for future innovations in government efficiency. Looking ahead, the intersection of technology and finance in governance is expected to deepen, challenging traditional notions of public finance and accountability. Whether the DOGE dividend materializes into a concrete policy or remains a talking point in the ongoing discourse on government efficiency, it is indicative of the dynamic and evolving nature of the political landscape in the age of digital currencies. As this narrative develops, it will be essential to observe how it influences not only public sentiment but also the broader financial ecosystem in which these ideas are being proposed. In a surprising twist in U.S. economic and political discourse, President Donald Trump expressed his support for a proposal that could allow Americans to receive dividends from the savings generated by the Department of Government Efficiency, which is closely associated with entrepreneur Elon Musk. Speaking at an investment conference in Miami, Trump stated that the administration is contemplating allocating 20% of the savings from this initiative directly to citizens, while another 20% would be directed toward reducing the national debt. The concept emerged amidst a backdrop of significant workforce reductions within federal agencies, as the Department of Government Efficiency has reportedly resulted in the termination or layoff of thousands of federal employees. Musk, known for his innovative yet often controversial ventures, hinted at this DOGE dividend on his social media platform, suggesting that it could serve as a form of taxpayer refund based on the efficiencies achieved. "I love it," Trump reiterated when asked about the idea on Air Force One, underscoring his enthusiasm for a plan that not only incentivizes public participation in reporting government waste but also aims to benefit the average American financially. "They'll be reporting it themselves. They participate in the process of saving us money," he explained, highlighting a dual incentive structure, one that encourages civic engagement while simultaneously addressing fiscal responsibility. The implications of this proposal could be far-reaching. If implemented, it may herald a new era of government accountability where citizens actively contribute to identifying inefficiencies, thereby enhancing the overall effectiveness of public spending. Critics, however, may raise concerns regarding the potential volatility of tying such dividends to the performance of government efficiency programs, especially in light of Musk's unpredictable business strategies. As the political landscape evolves, this initiative symbolizes a significant crossover between private sector innovation and public policy. The collaboration between Musk and Trump illustrates a broader trend of leveraging entrepreneurial principles to address governmental challenges, a notion that may resonate with a constituency increasingly frustrated with traditional bureaucratic inefficiencies. Looking ahead, the viability of the DOGE dividend concept will depend not only on the feasibility of its implementation but also on the political will to embrace such a novel approach to public finance. With Musk's influence in technology and innovation and Trump's populist appeal, this initiative could capture the imagination of voters as a tangible benefit of government reform. As discussions continue, the potential for real change in how government interacts with its citizens remains an open question poised to shape future electoral narratives and policy priorities in the years to come. In a significant political shift, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, a towering figure in U.S. politics for nearly 4 decades, announced on February 20, 2025 that he will not seek re-election in 2026. This decision, shared with colleagues on his 83rd birthday, marks the end of an era for the Republican Party and highlights the evolving landscape of U.S. politics, particularly in the context of the Trump-led GOP. McConnell, who has served in the Senate since 1985, has been a prominent architect of conservative legislation and a master of political strategy. His announcement was met with a mix of reflections on his legacy and speculation about the future of the Republican Party in Kentucky. "7 times my fellow Kentuckians have sent me to the Senate," McConnell stated in an emotional address on the Senate floor. "Representing our Commonwealth has been the honor of a lifetime. I will not seek this honor an 8th time." His tenure has been characterized by significant achievements, including the confirmation of 3 Supreme Court justices, the enactment of major tax reforms, and navigating the Senate through presidential impeachment trials. However, McConnell's influence has waned in recent years, particularly as the Republican Party has shifted towards a more populist and isolationist agenda, often in conflict with his traditional conservative values. This change has been exacerbated by his deteriorating relationship with former President Donald Trump, who once hailed McConnell as a crucial ally but has since criticized him publicly. Despite announcing his retirement, McConnell emphasized his commitment to completing his legislative agenda before his term concludes in January 2027. "I have some unfinished business to attend to," he remarked, indicating that he intends to focus on national defense and support for Ukraine amid ongoing geopolitical tensions. His stance remains aligned with the principles of strong foreign policy that have defined his career, even as he acknowledges the shifting sentiments within his party. McConnell's departure opens the door for a competitive Republican primary in Kentucky, with potential candidates already expressing interest in the now open Senate seat. Representative Andy Barr and former State Attorney General Daniel Cameron are among those contemplating their bids, both of whom have expressed loyalty to Trump's vision for the party. This shift may lead to a new generation of leadership that could further distance itself from McConnell's traditional conservatism. As McConnell prepares to leave the Senate, the implications of his exit resonate beyond Kentucky. His career reflects the complexities of American politics, particularly the tension between established political norms and the rise of populism. With his retirement, the Republican Party faces a critical juncture where the direction of its future leadership will likely be shaped by the ideologies of its emerging candidates. Looking ahead, McConnell's legacy will be scrutinized in the context of the evolving political landscape. As the GOP grapples with its identity, questions remain about how the party will reconcile its traditional values with the demands of a changing electorate. McConnell's influence may ebb, but the foundations he built during his tenure will undoubtedly continue to shape the Senate and the broader political discourse in the years to come. In a significant move reflecting a growing sentiment for reform in the U.S. political landscape, the Arizona House of Representatives has passed a measure calling for a convention of states to impose term limits on Congress. The resolution, known as H.C.R. 4041, marks a pivotal moment in Arizona's legislative history as it aims to join the ranks of 9 other states advocating for similar constitutional amendments through an Article 5 convention, a process that has never been executed since the Constitution's inception. On February 20, 2025, the measure was approved in a closely contested bipartisan vote of 31 to 28. House Speaker Steve Montenegro, a Republican from Goodyear and the measure's sponsor, expressed his enthusiasm, stating, "This is exactly the muscle that we were given as state legislators. We cannot be afraid to use it." The passage of this measure has been a long-standing goal for many lawmakers, with previous attempts falling short. A similar proposal was rejected in 2023 by a vote of 26 to 31. While the measure has garnered support, it has also faced considerable opposition. Critics argue that forcing congressional term limits through a convention of states could lead to unforeseen consequences. Representative Joe Chaplik, a Republican from Scottsdale, voiced skepticism about the effectiveness of term limits alone, suggesting that deeper systemic issues such as the influence of money in politics and lobbying need to be addressed. Why not address the real problems that this is targeting? Chaplik questioned. Concerns about the unpredictability of a convention of states have also been expressed by lawmakers like Representative Rachel Keschel, who called for safeguards if such a convention were to be convened. "There is no way that the nature of men when given absolute power will change," warned Representative Khyl Powell, a Republican from Gilbert, who opposed the measure on the grounds of potential risks to individual liberties. Historically, the U.S. House of Representatives has tracked over 160 applications for Article 5 conventions on various topics, but a two-thirds majority from state legislatures, 34 in total, is required to initiate a convention. Arizona previously passed measures in 2017 calling for conventions to limit congressional terms and reduce federal spending. But the current resolution is narrowly focused on term limits. Supporters of the term limits measure have found an ally in U.S. Term Limits, an organization pushing for similar initiatives nationwide. However, some legislators have raised concerns about what they perceive as intimidation tactics employed by the organization to sway votes. Representative Keschel recounted her experience of being warned that U.S. term limits would campaign against her if she did not support the resolution, attributing her primary loss to the organization's influence. As the term limits proposal advances to the Arizona Senate for further consideration, lawmakers are aware that any amendments resulting from a convention would still require ratification by 3/4 of the states, providing a layer of protection against radical changes. Representative Justin Wilmoth expressed hope that Congress might enact term limits independently before reaching the threshold needed for a convention, describing the situation as playing chicken. The Arizona House's decision to pursue term limits through a convention of states highlights a growing frustration with the current political climate. As public demand for accountability and reform continues to rise, the outcome of this initiative could set a precedent for how states approach constitutional amendments in the future. The unfolding political dynamics in Arizona may very well resonate across the country, suggesting that the quest for term limits may not only be a state-level concern but could also influence national discourse on governance and representation. In a significant legal development, the battle over birthright citizenship is inching closer to the U.S. Supreme Court following a series of court rulings that could reshape immigration policy and civil rights in the United States. As the political climate remains charged, former President Donald Trump's efforts to amend the long-standing legal interpretation of citizenship for children born on U.S. soil have faced substantial legal hurdles. Recent decisions from lower courts signal a challenging road ahead for Trump's agenda as the issue of birthright citizenship gains renewed scrutiny. On February 20, 2025, a U.S. appeals court rejected Trump's emergency bid to curtail birthright citizenship, a move that has been closely followed by legal experts and civil rights advocates alike. This ruling aligns with the broader judicial sentiment that has consistently upheld the principle established by the 14th Amendment, which guarantees citizenship to anyone born in the U.S. regardless of the immigration status of their parents. The implications of this decision are profound, marking a significant defeat for Trump and his allies who have sought to redefine citizenship in a manner that critics argue could lead to widespread disenfranchisement. According to legal analysts, this ruling not only reinforces existing interpretations of the Constitution but also sets a precedent that could influence future cases pertaining to immigration and citizenship rights. In a parallel development, the Supreme Court has also agreed to hear a case concerning students with disabilities, a case that could redefine the legal standards under which educational institutions must operate. The case AJT v. Osio Area Schools centers on whether students with disabilities must demonstrate bad faith or gross misjudgment from school districts in claims under the Americans with Disabilities Act (ADA) and the Rehabilitation Act. Currently, a split exists among various circuit courts regarding the standards required to prove negligence or wrongful intent, which complicates the legal landscape for students seeking accommodations. Ava, a student with epilepsy, is at the center of this pivotal case. Her parents have argued that the school district's refusal to provide evening instruction despite offering alternative accommodations constitutes a violation of her rights under the ADA. The Eighth Circuit Court sided with the school, citing a lack of evidence for wrongful intent. However, the Supreme Court's upcoming decision could reshape how courts interpret the obligations of educational institutions towards students with disabilities, potentially leading to more stringent requirements for compliance. The implications of these two cases are far-reaching. A ruling from the Supreme Court in favor of Ava could compel school districts nationwide to re-evaluate their policies on accommodations, especially if the court opts for a less stringent standard of proof. Conversely, a decision that maintains the current bad faith standard may not significantly alter the status quo, leaving many students without the necessary support they require. As these cases navigate the judicial system, they present a crucial opportunity to assess and potentially redefine the landscape of civil rights, citizenship, and educational equity in America. With oral arguments on the horizon for the disability case and ongoing developments in the birthright citizenship battle, the court's forthcoming decisions will likely resonate throughout various sectors, influencing not only legal precedents but also the lives of countless individuals across the nation. In conclusion, as the Supreme Court prepares to deliberate these critical issues, all eyes will be on the justices, as their rulings could either reinforce the status quo or catalyze substantial changes in American law and policy. The outcomes of these cases may well set the tone for future discussions surrounding citizenship, immigration rights, and the treatment of vulnerable populations within the educational system, making this an essential moment in the intersection of law and civil rights.